Next up on Speak to That, Cynthia Wells, author of Content of Character, speaks about her upcoming movie. She'll also discuss Black history, in particular, the history of integration and her personal story.
Welcome to Speak to That. Well, today, thank you for tuning in with us. And this being Black History Month, we have a special guest. She is a published author, a playwright, and a movie producer. We have Miss Cynthia Reed Wills.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Girl, so we hear you are just doing it up out here.
I appreciate that.
So one of the things that I see, you are producing a movie based on your book,
Yes.
Content of Character.
Right.
Can you speak to us about that?
Well, in light of it being African American, as our new president said, History Month, I wrote a book entitled Content of Character, and it is inspired by Dr. Martin Luther King's speech. I have a dream that one day my four little children will live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
Yes.
Speaking.
In 1966, now don't start counting your fingers and toes and subtracting and trying to figure it all out. In 1966, I was in the 7th grade, and I was one of the first blacks to integrate an all-white school in South Carolina. Now we're talking Deep South.
Yes. Yes.
And so because of that, I wrote a book. Now, I didn't write the book because I did it. I wrote a book because in 1980, and I don't start adding and subtracting again. Y'all all off my numbers, right? I mean, you calculate. That's how you calculate. But anyway, in 1980, I married a guy, and it was an abusive relationship. And after he had, just beat me to death, I went home to Carolina, and I found an old diary that I had written when I was a little girl. And in reading it and rereading it, I began to remember who I was, and that it was the content of my character that got me through that tumultuous time in my life, and then I went on into life, and I've been married now 28 years to a really great guy, and so it is the content of each of our character. Every ingredient that's put into us is the content of our character.
Oh my God, that is awesome. Wow, so you've seen a lot. When you're talking about integrating schools, because what we've seen on movies is that was a bad time.
And you have to understand, and this is the greatest part of this month with me, is that the Brown versus the Board of Education, which was the largest case that the Supreme Court tried regarding integration in schools, was May 17th. We won May 17th, 1954. I was born 11 days later. I'm 62 years old. So I'm telling you now that integration in America is only 62 years old.
Wow.
That's all. Just 62 years have we been going to school together. Have we been able to go to the Six Flags and to the restaurants and the city? That's how long it's been. But look how much we've accomplished in this short period of time.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question. So at that time when you integrated, how was it?
It was unbelievable. My mother had 6 children, and of all of them, she sent me. Now, we're still trying to figure that out. Why would she sacrifice my life like that? I don't know. But she sent me, and it was the most. Listen, now we didn't. By the time it got to me, now remember, the Little Rock 9 went. The 9 in Arkansas went in 1957, 3 years after the ruling. Then Ruby Bridges went in 1960. Well, you have to remember that it was inches into this stuff. People, you see what happened to them. Well, it didn't stop. By 66, it still hadn't really changed. First day of school, I'm spit on, I'm kicked, I'm thrown on the ground. I mean, it's terrible. But I didn't have the luxury of the National Guard. It was a luxury because they would kill us. And so it was terrible. But I'm not mad though.
Right.
I'm not mad. Because it was something that had to happen. I tell people, this is a book I had to write about a time that had to happen. It had to happen. Else we wouldn't be sitting here. Look how great we live now. It's awesome.
Cynthia, as you were just talking and sharing with us, the words that I kept hearing as you were speaking to that, I kept hearing, think it not strange. But even in that, God had a plan for what you are doing right now.
Thank you. You're exactly right. That's exactly. Thank you for saying that to me.
So you continue to keep going on like you have been, and also too, we know that you have made a huge impact on African American history. And I just would love for you to speak to that.
The movie is where I'm working to make this impact. This will be a full-length movie. We're going to start, just like I just explained to you, and we're going to bring it up. We've been working on it diligently. I want to, I know that we've done a lot of work with slavery. Listen, we've done some great work with slavery, and I'm grateful because we've seen slavery in so many ways over these last 8 years with the president there. We've seen it. But now, after slavery, it took another 100 years after slavery for us to get to integrate, just to get to integration. So I would like to think I've had an impact in that I was a part of that history and that I recorded that history. And now I hope to present that history in a way that people can understand but enjoy as well.
Right.
And as we were writing the script, I was saying we don't want to bore them for 1 minute now. Y'all get bored real easy. Please.
So Cindy, let us know, when is this movie coming out?
Well, our premiere date for Dallas is June 2018.
Okay.
So now I want y'all to speak to that.
All right.
When it's done. So don't forget to speak to that.
We're gonna help you with that.
Yes,
Thank
we
you
are.
so much. I
Make
appreciate
sure.
it.
So if the viewers wanted to get in contact with you, how would we find you? How can we reach you?
I tell you what, just go to contentofcharacterthemovie.com. Send us
Okay.
all your comments there. We, we are at Salt and Light Productions, are the ones who are producing my movie. Salt in the letter N, Salt in Light Productions, and when you go there, you can see a teaser view of the movie and so see where we're going. But we've been doing auditions. We've got some great actors from all over this city. I decided not to use the famous folk. And, well, number one, I couldn't afford them. Let's just keep it real. Let's keep it on the table and just keep it. Let's speak to that. Okay, but we couldn't afford them. But at the same time, I I'm the vice president at the Irving Theater, and we have always given people an opportunity. I'm gonna make me some movie stars. How about that?
Come on, high five.
Let's speak to that.
I like that. I like that.
Okay.
Keep it in
Keep
the
it
area.
in
Keep it in the
here,
community.
right.
Okay, that's
Right.
good. Well, Cindy, we love that you came out
Thank
to
you so
share
much.
all this knowledge with us.
Appreciate
We're
that.
so glad you've overcome and it built this character that you have.
Thank you
So
so much.
thank you so much for coming
been
to
my
speak to that.
pleasure.
And we thank you guys for tuning in to Speak to That, where we give
Hope to the hopeless.